G'day guys, welcome back to Nathan Bell's video series Centurion, which is going to be turned into a book. And this today is a likable and a shareable video. So tell someone you know about this great series. Today Nate is going to talk about sex.
Yeah. Well, over my life, I've thought a lot about about the importance of sex. I certainly don't have a lot of sex at the moment, and it's not a great big deal in my life. But what I do think is, people say, some people say sex is very important and to be cherished, and it should be between two people with a close psychological and personal bond with each other, and that sex is precious and to be cherished and between lovers, and to be valued. And I agree with that. I certainly think it's an important thing in life which consolidates the feelings that two humans have for each other, and it can be a very special thing which helps us share life with another person. And I think it's important that we all try and share life with each other because we're all here in life. And certainly throughout history, it's interesting how sex has changed, because for many years, particularly under the influence of religious groups, sex was viewed very strictly as this precious thing between a married couple. But I think it's silly to think that people before, when that was still the cultural norm, weren't having sex out of wedlock. People have been having sex out of wedlock for thousands of years. But it's interesting, our culture used to have, many years ago, used to have more of a view that sex was between a married couple, and we've become more liberal about sexuality since like the 60s and the 50s and the 60s moving forward. And now we're very liberal about sexuality. And now people are into polyamorous, I think is, I don't remember these terms very well, but these relationships where, today I'll be with you, and we say, and these polyamorous people say, today I'm with you, and I love you as much as I love the person I'm with tomorrow, I've always thought I'd like to, I'm really a settled guy, and I'm very much about deep and meaningful relationships, so I'd be happy just to settle down with someone and be with them, and I don't feel this urgent urge to go out and have sex with as many women as I can. I'd be satisfied just to have someone who I care deeply for, and we have sex as part of our relationship. But I'm certainly open-minded, and I say for these people who want to go out and be sexual with many people and have attachments to many people, great, do what you want. It's not my business what you do. We don't tell people what to do. That's what I've realised in recent years in my life. You don't tell people what to do. It's not your business. For people who want to go out and explore bisexuality, and have sex with different genders and different sexes, do what you want, My only view is as long as everyone's of consenting age, and the other thing about consent is that they're not too intoxicated to give consent. So that is to say, if there's a room of 50 people and they want to have a wild orgy together, some people might frown upon that and say that's really disgusting. How slutty they might say to be in a group of 50 people in a room all having sex together like crazy. And I say, what I've realised is it's not your business, As long as everyone's of consenting age and everyone's happy to be there, and they're not too intoxicated that they can't make a rational decision, it's absolutely their business to do what they want with each other. And the other thing I think is, that where problems emerge and where we have the right to criticise is where someone in the relationship is manipulating or abusing someone else in the relationship. So for these people who, imagine these people who say, I have 4 boyfriends and 2 girlfriends and we're all in this relationship together. Sure, why can't relationships be like that? As long as nobody in the situation is abusing anyone or taking advantage of anyone, and everyone's happy to be there and everyone likes what's going on, then it's their personal business. And it's interesting because some people are into some real freaky shit that I'm not into. Like some people are into whips and chains and all that stuff. And I personally, I see a lot of that as like, it feels to me like it's simulating abuse. But it's not my business. We don't tell people what to do. People are into what they want to be into. And that's why there's no law saying that you can't do whips and chains with each other and tying each other up and all this shit, because the law recognises that people are individuals and their own personal preferences are their choice, as long as everyone's consenting and everyone's of legal age. We don't go around telling other people what to do in bed. We don't tell other people how to live their lives. We let people make their own decisions. But one thing I will say, as a guy who doesn't have a lot of sex and hasn't had a lot of sex, because I don't have a lot of sex, I'm very consumed with other things, And in my mind is full of astrophysics. I wish I had a more comprehensive understanding of it, but my mind is full of physics and history and the mysteries of the universe and spiritual pursuits. So one thing I want to say is, sometimes I see guys and all they can think about is having sex, and it's like, there's nothing wrong with that, because sex is great. So go, and have as much sex as you can. But if your whole life is just consumed with chasing sex all the time, I just think you could stand to reevaluate your priorities and give some time to something else. So I think it can be a bit of a distraction in our society as well. And our society sells sex hard. It sells sex, sex sells. So, if that's all you can think about, I think, is that your priority in the world? There's the mysteries of the universe, there's history, there's politics, there's all these things you could give time to, and all you've got time to do is try and get laid as much as you can. I just think that's not the most important priority in my mind. So I do think there's something valuable about abstinence as well. And it's definitely an idea that our society isn't big on, but some people want to be like the monk and they want to abstain in the pursuit of other pursuits. So they want to abstain and they want to pursue knowledge or religion. Well, I think giving some time to other aspects of life is important. But certainly what I've realised is it doesn't, people's personal preferences are absolutely their business, and if you're looking for a framework for how to judge and criticise others' behaviour, you really should refer when we judge others to what the law has decided is acceptable, because lawmakers think long and hard about what is acceptable in our society. So if you're going to go around and judge and criticise people for their sexual behaviours, I think you need to realise it's not your place. People do what they want. So people can go around and have frivolous sex and be obsessed for many years in their 20s with trying to have as much sex with beautiful women as they can, and that's fine, because that's a part of life, and it's not anyone's place to tell them otherwise. It's their decision. So we should be, I think, liberal about sex and open-minded, and we certainly don't have to view sex as this precious thing which is only between a married couple. Thank God we've abandoned that idea. That's that strict control that Christian groups have had over our society's views for a very long time, and we're abandoning Christian dogma. Thank God, because we need to abandon Christian dogma. It's just a control dogma. People are liberal and free, and they are individuals, and they pursue their personal preferences and the things that make them happy. So, that's some thoughts about sexuality and exploring sex, and I'm very open-minded. Do what you want. I'm not going to tell you what to do or how to live your life, even if you're into all this chains and whips stuff, which is just not personally for me. But if it's for you, that's great. It's your business. So drop a comment in the comment section about what you think about sex. Are you conservative about sex, more like a Christian, and view it as something precious for marriage? Or are you very liberal about sex and you want to go and have polyamorous relationships with loads of different people and love many people in your life? Drop a comment, guys.